All right, so happy, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Robert Happy, and I'm a nutrition educator from CalFresh Health and Living. I may not be the same guy that was here last week. Unfortunately, he is no longer working for us, and we wanted to send his best. He's no longer here. So today, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do our third lesson in this curriculum called On Shop Save and Cook. Today, we're gonna be talking about saving money. And with this one, what I like to do is I like to do our recipe first, and then we'll go into like the presentation. So I handed out the recipe, but for those online, you will be getting a copy of it also. And our recipe today is gonna be, we're gonna make a sorbet. Has anybody ever tried sorbet? Okay, so sorbet, have you? Okay, what's your favorite flavor? If you might share it. You don't have to read it on.
I don't remember what kind it was. My client bought it for me.
Thanks. Okay. And a sorbet is very similar to ice cream minus the cream. So it's usually just a fruit juice or a fruit like base. And then they cream it, they will do what is called creaming it, where they will just blend it into like almost like a smoothie, and then they freeze it again. So hopefully this didn't thaw too much. For our recipe today, all we gotta do is we gotta get a can of fruit. We're doing pineapple today, but you can do any fruit you want. This is pineapple. You can add strawberries to it, or you can add bananas to it. And then all you do is you just blend it. So it says to freeze it for a couple hours. I pulled it out like roughly about like an hour before I was supposed to come. I think it's probably thawed out too much. But it's supposed to be like still kind of solid. Yeah, it's too thought out. Wow, that's very surprising. All right, so what would happen is that it would blend it up and it would be very like still kind of solid. And then we would just like be like ice cream. So if we wanted to, we would get this and then we would pour this in a container and then we would just put it back in the freezer. You guys want to put it in the freezer? So, yeah. Why that's like not. It's like good. Okay. Okay, so this is gonna go in the freezer, we're gonna freeze it up, and then when we're done, we'll try it, okay? So in the recipe, you can add, they say you can do peaches, so it'd be just a can of peaches that with the juice, and then you just freeze it up and then you blend it. The pineapple is just a 20-ounce can of pineapple with 100% juice. And if you wanted to make it pineapple banana, you can use that as a banana. Okay. All right, so if there's any questions in the chat, I'm sure somebody is gonna be watching it. I appreciate that. And then for you in person, if you guys have questions, please let me know. I will do my very best to answer them right now. Or the next time for next week, we'll have somebody come in if I'm not here and they will ask for it. So I want to make this as informational for you as possible. So please ask questions. I'm more than happy to answer them. If not, I will just keep talking and talking. All right, so our lesson today is called Save Money. If you are, this is your first time here, this is a demographic. A demographic card for our program because we are still taking statistics for our funders. If you have a cell phone, you can go ahead and take a QR code. And it's just a couple quick questions. It's just like your age and stuff like that. If you want to do it on paper for those that are here in person, you can go do it on paper. I'm not sure if you guys have done this. You guys do this for like the first lesson you came. Okay, so I got. Then I can input these for you if you. All this is just others know that we are going to the places that we are saying that we're going to. If you don't want to answer, you don't have to. It is completely voluntary. But this is just to let them know that, like I said, we're going to where we are. There is no, you don't have to put your name on it. This is just to let us know a couple of questions. If you want to use your cell phone, you can take a picture of the QR code. You can do it. Once if you look like Spanish, that is entirely up to you. If you need the English one, it's kind of cut off in person. We can go ahead and get that to you too. When you guys are done, just go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Okay, you're done. Go to the next one. All right, so we're going to go to the next one, and this is like a pre-survey of like just a couple questions, like about some of the topics that we've talked about or we'll be talking about. So this one will have to make you'll make an ID for it, and it's just gonna make your first initial of your first name, first initial of your last name, birth month and your birthday. This is like the not very exciting stuff that we get to do, but again, this is for our funders, let them know that we're out in the community, we're doing this stuff. If you would like to fill it out, you can. If not, you don't have to. Again, it's completely voluntary. That'll give you a couple minutes. We have it in English and we have it in Spanish. I'll give you guys a second to do that too. Is there any questions? So I like that it's sunny today. It was ugly this morning. Crazy blocking.
Good. Doing okay. Awesome, everyone. And I'm just walking around throughout the lesson today, so I'll be popping in and checking chats. But if I miss yours or it takes me a few minutes, just make sure, be patient. We'll get to it. I promise not to ignore anybody.
And if you fill that out in person, like on paper, I can pick it up from you. Okay, another minute for those online that may be doing it well online to finish filling this up.
You got sign in for you right here, and I'll get everything out for you. Grab one of the folders up top and one of those wires. Oh.
All right, so. So, like I was saying, our lesson today, we're gonna be talking about saving money. This is a very interesting one because everybody does something a little bit different. And then also too, because the price of stuff is becoming more expensive, we want to make sure that we are making everything that we buy last longer. But then also too, we wanted to make sure that we are getting the most that we can for the money that we're spending, right? So today, the main thing we're gonna talk about is something that's called unit pricing. We're gonna talk about reviewing bulk and generic products. Generic in this sense means that it is the store brand, not necessarily generic. I will talk more about that when we get there. And then we'll talk about keeping our food safe to prevent waste and spoilage, so proper storage. Okay. Again, at any time, if you guys have any questions, please raise your hand or you can put it in the chat. Did anybody do any of do you guys remember the goals from last week? Do you guys heard the last lesson?
The last lesson was 3 weeks ago before winter break.
All right, so in the 3 weeks between the holidays and now, which I know tons of stuff have happened, these are the goals from the second lesson that you had. The first one was you would read the nutrition facts label, choose a cereal with 6 grams or less. For serving, you'll read the nutrition facts on several snacks and choose the one with the least amount of sugar. You'll check the serving size on a large container and then portion it out to eat at a time. Or you will compare your usual portion of a beverage with the serving size listed on the label. All right, so I know this is a lot, especially over the holidays. I know when the holidays roll around, these rules kind of don't apply because it's all special stuff that we get once a year. But Did anybody try anything like similar to this during the holidays? No. I think what I did was, when I had my pumpkin pie slice, I cut it in half. And I guess that was like what a serving of pumpkin pie should be. And I was very disappointed because like, I like to get the big. So, even though we may not have done these, or if you did, you don't remember, these are just like some tips that we can do, like just to like kind of, ways to like decrease the amount of sugar that we have, when we have these types of items. Okay, but today we're gonna be talking about how to select the lowest cost option when we buy our foods for ourselves. Okay. All right, so for this one, I would like to say, would anybody like to share ways that they save money while they go grocery shopping?
I think it's.
I don't take kids, all right, that's a good one, right? Because then they don't, they're not trying to get everything. Anybody else? Okay, the option coupons, all right, cool. Nice.
It's when the coupon.
The coupons, yeah. I remember growing up, they had the little coupon thing you pull and then go, the coupon would come out. I remember those things. Yeah, cool. So we have an app. We have, not having kids go, and then you said the coupon, right? So those are some really good ways that we can save money. So, in your handout, and then for those online, I'll send you these also. In your handout, there is this page for those that are here. That looks like this. And then I'm just gonna put on the screen so it's bigger, I should say. If the text is too small on the paper. But the first one we can think about is plan, right? So we can plan before we head to the grocery store, so we can plan our meals for the week. Some people like to plan for the month. But if we do, we can include stuff like stews, casseroles, or soups. And those are the ones that can stretch the expensive items within our meal. That's usually the protein. So the protein is usually the most expensive part. So when we do these types of items, it is stretched like further. We can check to see what foods we have on hand at home. So that when we go to the store, we're not buying extra. Okay, so like I always think of like staple items like rice, beans, pasta, stuff like that, canned vegetables, like we can have some of those on hand. We gotta make sure we're not getting more. Okay. The next one says we get the best price, so we can check the paper. If we still read the newspaper, I know a lot of people don't really anymore. You can check online. You can go to the store and you can look for sales, coupons and apps, or even sometimes when you go to the store, they have promotions for stuff on sale, but it's not like in the app or on the paper. It's like just like a random like manager special type deal. We can always ask about loyalty cards where you get more coupons depending on the store. Even stores like Costco and Sam's Club, like you're technically like a member of the store, and then you get access to those things also. We can also do check the meat counter. So if you go to a grocery store that has like a meat counter where they cut it or they have it on hand, ask them questions. 9 times out of 10, they will recommend a cut of meat or a type of meat that could be like less expensive version of one you're looking for, or they can cut it to size if you really want them to. Like they can also do that. They also offer seasoning. So if you're not sure how to season it, they can season it for you, and then they give it to you like that. Okay. And also too, I like to tell my other classes that when it comes to the meat counter, learn the people that meet the people that are back there, learn their names, kind of like shoot the breeze with them, because they'll let you know when stuff comes in, and then they'll also let you know when stuff goes on sale. So the grocery store I like to go to, I know that every Wednesday they get their shipment. Every Sunday night after 5 o'clock, they will discount all their stuff. That's usually when I go. It's Sunday night after 5 o'clock, so I'm gonna get a lot of meat. Sorry, that. Sprouts and Riverport. Yeah. Or if I'm doing shopping for like our recipes for our office, I go to Food Max on Blackstone and
That's like right. Barstow.
Barstow. Yeah, there you go. That one. Yeah, I go there. Or I go to Smart and Final on Blackstone and Boulder. So I go to a couple different ones. Yeah, so just ask them, right? And they'll eventually like recognize you and they'll tell you when all the cool stuff goes on stuff. Okay. All right, so number 3 says compare and contrast. What we'll talk about today is the unit price. And it's usually the little number on the price tag directly entered that like it's usually in cent and like change. And that can help you figure out which one is like the best for like the size of the item or the version of the item. Okay, so if you've ever been to Sam's Club or Costco, you'll see like it says like this item is like $25.99, and then real small, it'll say like 0.050 cents per like item, ounce or per serving. That is the unit price. And all that is we get a couple numbers, we divide them. If it's not on the tag, and it'll tell you how to do it. Okay. And this is also good too. We can compare sizes to see which one's the better deal, because our main goal is to save money. So we can kind of like check that out too. Okay. Number 4 says we're going to buy it in bulk. So if it is something that is larger in quantity, the price is usually per serving a lot less. It says we always buy stuff cheaper in bulk. Smart choices can be containers of like, say, low-fat yogurt, large bags of frozen vegetables, dried rice, dried beans, big bags of pasta, right? Those are all things we can keep without having to refrigerate. And we just want to make sure that when we buy these items, we have enough space to store them. So if you buy like a big cubes, like number 10 can of nacho cheese, we want to make sure that that is going to be somewhere that it's not going to be like damaged or anything like that. But also too, if we have stuff that needs to stay dry, like flour or pasta or rice or beans, we want to make sure that we can put it somewhere too where it can be safe to be there for a long time. And the frozen stuff is awesome because if it's like a frozen fruit or a frozen vegetable, it's usually picked at the ripest time when it's supposed to be picked. It's just that it's not very pretty to go on the shelf in the produce section. It's the only difference. Same flavor, same nutrition profile. It just may have like a little blemish, or may not be the right size or the right weight. So then that's how it becomes the frozen stuff. It's all the same. And all right, so number 5 says buying in season. So we can buy fruits and vegetables in season, and it can help us lower costs and add to the freshness. If you're not going to use them right away, we can buy the stuff that needs to ripen over time. I always think of bananas, avocados, mangoes, watermelons, cantaloupes, honeydew, like the vine kind of unripe, and then over time they will eventually ripen. If you like to go to farmers markets, I know farmers markets aren't like really like big right now because it's winter time, but in the summertime, spring and summertime, excuse me, you can go to the farmers market and you can get all the stuff that you would like, and then it usually costs a lot less. The only thing is that it's because it's fresh when you have the right storage that lasts as long as you can. And then also what makes the price less is that we are not paying for those items to be shipped to a storage facility, then shipped to the store, and then have somebody like put it on the shelf. So we're skipping a couple steps, and it's going straight from the producer right to you. Okay. Number 6 says convenience cost. We can go back to the basics. Convenience means like frozen dinners, pre-cut fruit and vegetables, takeout meals can often cost more because than if we were to make them at home. We can take time to prepare them, and then we can save. Okay, so if you are someone that likes to cook, social media, Pinterest, the internet, fantastic resources to find recipes on how to make all the stuff you like in restaurants at home. So it's pretty cool. I've had a couple people in our last couple lessons, like in the past, say that they will try to like find like a recipe mock-up on like TikTok, and then they will make it at home and then see if the kids like it. So it's like there's another way we can try to do that, because then technically we're not going to the restaurant and paying for somebody to make it or bring it out to us. So we have a couple different ways that you can save money with that. For pre-cut fruits and vegetables, that is usually more expensive because now we're paying somebody to cut it up and then put it in a container. So then that's somebody's time that works there that put it together, as compared to just buying it and preparing it ourselves. Okay. I always think like the 50% markup on pre-cut watermelon is like absolutely insane, because cutting a watermelon was like super easy to do, right? Okay. Number 7 says easy on the wallet. So certain foods are typically low cost options throughout the year. We can try beans for an inexpensive protein. We can buy vegetables like cabbage, sweet potatoes, or even regular potatoes, or low sodium canned vegetables. And then for fruits and vegetables, stuff like apples, bananas are in season year round. So we can always get those like whatever we feel that we want there. For this stuff, like it's pretty cool because like you can get rice, you can get beans, like we said, pasta. We can keep those for long periods of time. Right now in the wintertime, squashes are being harvested. So if you're a fan of like acorn squash, kabocha squash, pumpkins, stuff like that, those last like months if stored properly. So we can keep those, we can use those for meals in the future as compared to just having to use them right away. All right, so this next one, number 8, talks about cooking once and eating all week. So if you are someone that likes to meal prep, this is what it would be. We can prepare large batches of our meals or our entrees or even our sides. We can store them in the refrigerator, or if we make too much, we can always freeze it. So stuff that can be frozen can last 3 to 6 months, depending on what it is.
Super sorry, but we have a special birthday we wanted to stop and celebrate.
So,
All right.
anyway, so it's our school site, council chairperson's, birthday, so, Tammy, so we just wanted to give her a special happy birthday. Thank you for being part of our school, and she's very active involved in our school site council and other things too. She's been with Eric, who's doing an amazing job too, so, hey, happy birthday, we got you. Yeah, it's good, but so this, happy birthday.
That's cool.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Yeah. All right, so, and then it also says that, depending on what it is, we can freeze it. So if you're someone that likes to do like white or brown rice, you can cook a bunch of it. You can put it in like Ziploc bags, you can freeze it, stays good for like 6 months. You can do, hamburger patties, you can cook a bunch of them, then put them in a Ziploc bag and freeze them. You can do all kinds of stuff like that. Or you can break it down like into small containers, lunch, or you can, just spread them in different meals, throughout the week. The only thing with this one is that it takes a long time to do it all at once because we're making a large portion. So that's the only like downfall of it. But then when it's done and you come home and it's like time to make dinner, it's already done. You just have to heat it up. It's like we save a whole bunch of time doing it. Okay. We get creative with our leftovers. We can use them in new ways. We can use leftover chicken for stir fry. You can put it in the salad. We can throw it in chili. Always remember that when you throw food away, we're throwing our money away. And especially when it comes to proteins, we want to make sure that we stretch those out. I always think of like my grandma used to get like a chub of ground meat. We would eat it in tacos one day, then the next day it was enchiladas, the next day it was in burritos. So I just like would stretch them to multiple different things. And that could be anything, right? If you do like barbecue chicken, that could be barbecue chicken one night, fajitas the next night, stir fry the night after that. So that's like 3 different meals using one ingredient. You just have to add something new into it to like keep it going. All right, number 10 says eating out. Restaurants can be expensive, so we can save money by going early and having the early bird special or going to lunch instead of dinner. Some places do 2-for-1 entrees. And when it comes to beverages, we can try ordering water instead of like iced tea, a soda, or like a mixed drink, you know, because those are usually extra. I know that some places, like depending on where it's at, when you get your dinner portion of the meal, it's like usually 2 servings of that meal on one plate. So if you ask them, they will normally like split it up and put it in a box for you if you really like. But I'm the type of person that when I get a meal at a restaurant, I want to eat it all at the restaurant because I don't take it home. And it's like eating out. So, I mean, like there's all kinds of different things we can do. And the same for lunch. Lunch portions are usually a little bit smaller. So that's why they are less than go ahead. Get it. Okay. Get any questions on any of those? That's like a whole bunch. All right. So for saving when it comes to the cost of the items that we are buying, we can go by unit pricing, we can buy the store brands. If the unit price is lower, we can be flexible because normally when it comes to certain items that we cook with, it's usually a preference. And when we break it down to like the ingredient list, it's usually the same. It's just that the percentages might be a little bit different. Okay, so we can always use coupons, try canned or frozen foods. We can buy seasonal whole vegetables or fruits. And the first one we're talking about is the unit price. Okay, so when it comes to unit price, every item we buy, the serving size comes in a standard amount, whether it's pounds, grams, ounces, whatever the case may be. It comes in one of those ways, and then depending on how much we eat, would be how much we would just use for the if we were like pricing out our meals, if you wanted to try that. Unit price only compares the price of the ingredient, not the quality of the ingredient. This is when it comes to the house brand versus national brand, or if it's like a fruit or vegetable, if you grew it yourself. So there's like a couple of different factors that would go into it. And this is often displayed on the sticker on the shelf of the stores. Like I was saying at Costco, they have a little baby price under the big price. And they're saying that's what we're talking about. So if you look at your handout or online, you can see the handout that we were talking about. It talks about the comparing the price, similar foods that are different in sizes or brands. And then you as the consumer can figure out which one works the best. Okay, so if we look at our handout, or it's on the screen, there's two types of cereal. One is $3.64, and then the other one is $2.38. One box is 24 ounces and the other box is 18 ounces. Okay, slow it there. All right, so cereal box A is $3.64 for the whole thing. It is 24 ounces. And then the unit price per serving of this particular cereal is 15 cents. Okay, so for cereal B, it is $3.38 for the box. It is 18 ounces, and then it is 19 cents per ounce. So the first question says, which cereal costs the least for the total price? So which one, like, we're just looking at the prices, which one is the least expensive? Box A or box B?
Yeah.
It would be box A, right? Oh, no, box B, sorry. $3.38. We're looking at the total price. Okay? And yeah, since it's $3.38, which cereal would be the less per ounce? Somebody said box A, so it's 15 cents per ounce, right? And then which cereal would you think is the better buy? Looking at the unit price and then the overall.
So 18B for cereal A.
Cereal A? Yeah, and it would be cereal A. Because one, it's a little bit more like overall, but it's a bigger box. So since it's a bigger box, it would make the cost per ounce less. And it's super confusing, right? But if you look at the bottom of your page. Right, so on the bottom, for those that couldn't see it online, it has this like little formula. So what you would do is you'd get the total cost, you divide it by the weight, and then you would get the unit price. Okay, so the cereal one is kind of a odd example. So like if we had a cereal and it was 10 ounces was the weight of the box, it cost $3. It would be 3 divided by 10, and then it would be 3 cents. 30. I guess 30 cents, would that be 30 cents? Whoever wrote this, I don't like it. Whoever put this together. 3 cents, so that would be 3 cents, I need the zero for it. So that'd be 3 cents per ounce. It's very confusing, I apologize. Because like there should be a zero before the 3, because now that's. Yeah, so we just divide total weight divided by the cost divided by the weight. All right, so we'll use a more logical one. If we were to buy 2 pounds of chicken breast and it was running about $7, so 2 pounds would be 32 ounces, so that's 16 ounces in a pound. So that would be the $7 divided by 32 ounces, and that would make it 21 cents per ounce. And normally when we have the meal, we put it together, we eat about 4 ounces of meat, depending on like our activity level. So then that would be about like 85 cents of protein on top of everything else if we were pricing out the whole meal. Okay. So if we did hamburgers and they were a sweet deal of 85.15, these prices will be a lot different because like everything's gone up a little bit. So if it costs you $20 for 4 pounds of hamburgers, which would be that's so $20 divided by 32 ounces. So if it's 20 divided by
64.
64. Error, sorry, my bad. So if it's 20 divided by 64, then it would be 31 cents per unit. Okay. So like, just depending on what it is, and like roughly those hamburgers would be about 4 ounces. And then when you cook them, because it has a 15% fat content, they would shrink a little bit. So then that would be how much it would cost like per ounce of patty. Okay. And normally when you like see in restaurants or you're buying meat, the weight that it is before it's cooked is the price that they would be getting this for. Like if you ever go to a restaurant, they're like, oh, this is a 8-ounce filet mignon, and they tell you the price. Well, when you get that filet mignon, it's gonna be about 6 or 7 ounces because of the dripping of the fat loss. Yeah. Any questions on this? All right, so when it comes to the store brands and the national brand, normally the national brand costs more than the store brand. And if we, like we said, if we look at the ingredient list of both items, they're roughly about the same. Percentages might be a little bit different, but if you look at our picture on this, on the screen, the one on the right with the cow, this would be the national brand. And the one in the middle would be your like the store brand or the house brand. Now, what happens is that when you buy the national brand, it costs more because now we are paying for someone to create the packaging, the logos, they pick certain colors, and they put something on it to make it grab your eye because on the shelf, everything is fighting for your attention and for your money. Okay, so if you look at the one on the right, it has like a health claim, it has a cute little cartoon cow. So then its main goal is to draw like the little one to it because there's a cartoon on it. As compared to the one in the middle where it just has like a splash of milk and like just a red band logo. Okay. When it comes to milk, all of the milk comes from the same farms. There's just like a subtle difference to it. This one in the picture that says that there's a higher vitamin or mineral in it. And the only reason why they can say that they can claim that is because they feed their cows a certain diet. And then it increases that vitamin in it just a little bit. But the milk comes from the same places. All of our milk here in Central California usually comes from Kingsburg or Hanford, or Lemoore, like Kings County. It usually comes from there. And then it's usually shipped. But if you're someone that likes to do like organic milk or free range milk or anything like that, that just like their way that the cows live day to day is just a little bit different than a commercial dairy where they live in like the big like buildings. Okay. All right, so if we're doing store brands and house brands, we're using some cheese. So if you look at our examples, it's the same brand of cheese, the same type. It's just that the package gets a little bit bigger, and then you'll notice that the price goes up. But then if you were to do the unit price, the price changes. So this particular store that I got these from were very nice to give me the unit price with the overall price. So if you look at like 8-ounce bag is 25 cents an ounce, 16-ounce bag is 22 cents per ounce. But then if you bought the 32-ounce bag, that would make it 22 ounces per serving. Okay, so it just goes up just a little bit. And also too, if you are for the price of like something like cheese, if you decided to buy like the block of cheese, it usually costs a lot less. And then you would grade it yourself. And the cheese that you grade off the block lasts and tastes a little bit different than the stuff that comes out of the bag. Does anybody know why?
Did they put something to make it last?
Yeah, did you know? Yeah, they put what is called an anti-caking agent on it. And it's like this real fine powder that keeps it from getting stuck when they transport it from the processing plant to the store. So if you've ever made like a quesadilla with bag cheese and you do the pull, right? Everybody loves to see the pull of the cheese after you cut it, right? You'll get it, but then if you shredded it, the cheese from a block, your pull would be a lot bigger because it doesn't have that anti-caking agent. The taste is a little bit different, but the quality is the same. It's just that one has the powder on it a little bit. It just depends on what you like, right? Okay. So we can also be flexible when it comes to the shopping. Sometimes the stores have unadvertised sales. Like we're talking about, they have like manager specials. Certain stuff is on sale because of the season that it's in. So we can like peruse the aisles. We can find the stuff that we may not know or may not have known that we needed. We just want to make sure that if we buy the stuff that is on these types of sales and we're getting a good deal, we want to make sure we have the space for it. Okay. We use coupons. Somebody said they like to use the apps. We talked about there's ads in the store that have these also. Sometimes these ads come in the mail, so we can get our coupons and stuff like that. Or even if you have like the app, you can just add the coupons to your thing and then you scan like the barcode at checkout, and then it'll give you like the coupons. So there's all kinds of different ways that we can use coupons. All right, so for canned and frozen foods, we were just talking about this a little bit earlier with the fruit and the vegetables. They're all picked at the same time. the same ripeness, the same flavor, the same nutrition. It's just that one is frozen and one is in a can. So what they do is they'll pick the item, they'll process it into either they'll cut it and they freeze it they use a method called flash freezing, where they'll push it into a machine on like these cookie sheets. Super cold air will hit it real quick, and in less than 5 seconds, it's frozen solid. When they do the canning process, they boil it in a hot liquid. Usually it's water with the juice of the fruit. They seal it on top, and then they will keep it and keeps it fresh until you top the can with it. We can compare the price between the fresh can and frozen of the same fruit or vegetable. And sometimes, depending on what it is, the price may be a little bit less because it may be in season. So you are technically buying it in season, and then it usually costs a lot less because it is being harvested out. And goes into this one. So seasonal whole fruits and vegetables are a great way to save money. You pre-cut, pre-washed, ready-meat, processed foods that, although they are convenient, they tend to cost a little bit more. It's like we said, somebody has to cut it and produce it, and then they got to bag it, and they got to ship it or package it. And it's usually a lot more than if we were to buy it whole. Don't get me wrong, I love pre-cut lettuce, I love pre-cut vegetables, frozen stuff, canned stuff. I completely understand if that's what we need to do to save time. I totally get it. Every now and then we should try to like incorporate like the fresh stuff if we can. Okay. Any questions on any of these so far? All right. So when it comes to the shopping part, it says shop once a week using a meal plan or a shopping list if you are using one. Some people like to do 2 weeks. Some people like to do a month. Whatever works best for your family would be like how much I would suggest you go shopping. But like the list usually helps when it comes to like figuring out what we need to get, stay on that thing. I'm the type of person that I can't go shopping when I'm hungry because then I want to buy everything. Because then I'm the one that gets caught up at the register buying all the stuff and the drinks and all that. That's me. I'm totally that sucker that gets caught up at that part. So just try not to go shopping hungry. If you have little ones, give them the list, have them help you, keep them occupied if you can. Some people like to write it down on paper, and then some people like to just put a note in their phone. So it just depends on what we like to do. Okay. The handout thing that we have, this one is just like comparison of like, if you bought a lot of your stuff that was already pre-made versus if you did it yourself. The other card talks about how like they bought a lot of pre-made frozen items or boxed items. Like they would buy a lot of what is called the convenience food. And on that side, the price is a little bit higher because of certain items. Okay? One thing we got to consider too, that if it's pre-made or like pre-cooked that we just heat up, or it's a box that we put together, sometimes they might be high in fat, they might have a lot of sugar, or they might have a lot of sodium. That's just something to consider. But the one on the right, that's the smart cart. It's like if you bought the ingredients and then you put it together yourself, it would be a little bit less, but then you would be in charge of the seasoning, how much salt goes into it, how much fat is put into it, because you are the one that's putting it together. I completely understand if we use convenience items. Who wants to be making dinner after a long day of working or doing errands all day? If we need to like use those items, like awesome. We just gotta try to incorporate like something like fresh in there, like fresh vegetables or taking the water possible. This handout, this isn't really my favorite handout because I feel like this one makes one cart look like not good compared to the other. When both carts have nutritionally have good nutrition in both of them, they just may not be the same on time of preparation. Yeah, it is right there. See, so when you go shopping, try not to go hungry. And so, like I said, I'm the one that gets caught with the snacks at the register. I buy a bunch of stuff that I usually don't need. So try not to go hungry because then everything looks good. And then we tend to like buy a bunch of stuff that we probably don't. Does that happen with anybody else? Going hungry or buy extra stuff? All right, so for the next one, it says we can use this as an experience for the little ones. Right, so we can give them the list, or you can have them, or you can read them the item, have them find it for you. I've had participants in the past say like, kids help me pick the fruits and the vegetables. Some of my participants in the past say that they have their kids like pick the menu like for the day, like they'll give them a day during the week. And they'll have them pick it and they'll put it together. And they know, because then they know that at that, when it's meal time, their kid's gonna eat because the kid chose that particular one. But then sometimes, depending on the age of the little one, you can have them help prepare it. You know, like you can have them help you cut, peel, mix, whatever, you know, if you would like. And so it can be a way to have them just hang out with you. Yeah. All right, so we can also buy the amount of food that we would use before it goes bad. I will send a paper that I forgot to bring. It tells you the difference between a best by, an expiration, and a use by date. So when we see those numbers and dates on our items, they mean different stuff. So if it is a best by date, that means that they want you to use that item before that date so that you get the maximum flavor, the maximum texture, and stuff like that. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna go bad when it hits that date. It just, the quality will dip a little bit. If it is a use by date, that means that when it hits that use by date, then it starts to like diminish a little bit faster. And then expiration date means that when it hits that time, then it can go bad a little faster than the other. Okay. You can buy the non-perishable stuff in bulk when the items are on sale. So like rice, beans, again, pasta, stuff like that. If you have the space and the gumption, you can try to grow your own food. We can do garden boxes. You know, you can use like small containers to grow stuff. We can build our meals around the healthy, low-cost items from the My Plate that we looked at in the very first lesson. Like we just look at that stuff, and then we would just like piece it all together. There's the My Plate method. All right, the recipe item. Did somebody get that? The blender.
All the,
Yeah, the thing in the prison. Yeah,
I don't know how cold it'll be, but,
and it's like we'll try it.
okay.
I'm sure it's gonna be good. All right, so for our recipe, like for those that came in late, we're doing a fruit sorbet. So all we gotta do is I got a can of pineapple in 100% juice. You freeze it, it gets solid, and then when you blend it, it'll turn into like a sorbet, which is like ice cream minus the cream. It is a inexpensive. It's like a dessert when it's hot. And like the way it is right now, it's not like super frozen. But if you've ever had like a Jamba Juice or an Orange Julius, you would just add a little bit of cream to it, blend it up, and then you would have one of those types of smoothies. It's like a happy accident. All right, so for our lesson today, for our goals for the next class, which will be next week, or and then it's gonna be our final one, is that you can choose one of these goals and you can see if it works. And then when we have our lesson next week, we can talk about your experience with it. So the first one says, I will check the unit price on 3 commonly purchased items the next time I go grocery shopping, and you will choose the lowest cost option. You will try to use at least one coupon the next time we go to the grocery store. And then the next one says, I will try the least expensive store brand for one item that you commonly purchase. And then the last one says, I will buy a bulk item, portion it into baggies, myself instead of buying the individually packaged one. This is like the last one's a good one, like you buy like big bags of popcorn or chips, or you just put them in like small little like bags. And then you can have those ready before you like leave the whole house.
Sure. Oh, great. Okay. It doesn't seem marvelous. Yeah, right. But the camera had. Okay, fine. That Jamie Thomas. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Is it salad?
A little bit.
Salad. Hey, pineapple. Yeah. It's already. Like, did you eat it?
So because it's sour, and that's where you would put like hand in it, and you put like
What?
kind of on that.
More sweetness.
Yeah, because pineapple is one of those like hit or miss. It's like it's either really good or it's like.
I think it wasn't that sour. She been extra.
It's all right.
I like the honesty.
All right, so if you're not a pineapple fan, what fruit would you try this with? What frozen fruit would you blend that? Strawberry.
Oh, that's.
Strawberry. I like it. Strawberry. Yeah. Frozen.
With a little long.
Take Friday.
Yeah. I've had people use like frozen mango, or they get fancy and they buy like dragon fruit, like exotic fruits, and then do it like that.
These would be pretty nice.
Yeah, so we can kind of use this like same technique with any can fruit that you would like. So, is there any questions?
Ooh, an apple. Yeah, let's see apple. The people. Yeah. The people. Yes, that's my favorite.
I'm gonna try that. Apple. Yeah.
That will be
I
like.
think that would be
Yeah, see, that's amazing. Well, actually managed, we always wind up struggling like last 5, 10 minutes figuring out that we want, very much. So I'm gonna make a motion.
questions?
Otherwise, that's gonna round it up for us. Into that. Yes, in Spanish, I didn't know Flutter would be here. You told me that.
Oh. The ones that are in Spanish, I'll bring the ones next week that are in English.
Yes, which more info. I know, I was looking at it from, well, I was trying to talk to somebody, I don't know about. Oh, yeah, I did pull one. And 187. 187. That's it, congratulations. So you're gonna check out with the ladies in our front office to get your prize. Right, everybody else have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. No school Monday. I'll see you on the next one for our little health fair. And the last CalFresh meeting. All right, check on the line real quick.
No questions, comments, concerns over here. Looks good. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Remember, no school Monday. Next Friday, we will have our health fair. Bye, everybody. Bye, Dragon. See you later.